All right, so in today's quick tip tutorial, we're going to be using Illustrator and demonstrating the pen tool. In my opinion, this is probably the best and only tool you should be using to create your own kind of original line work, or at least use it as the starting point. You can equate this to be like your P line or your curve tool in Rhino and AutoCAD. It's basically the kind of fundamental piece to draw in Illustrator. Um, you can see that there's a couple ways we'll use it. If you just want to kind of click and go to different areas to create an object, you can do it that way. You can eventually enclose it by just going to the starting point. You can see that it creates this a little circle icon to close it, right? So now we have an actual closed shape. But like I said, you can even just keep it as a stroke. I'll just hit V to keep as a segment, right? So that'll just create a nice kind of uh, very kind of rigid one. You can see if you click down here, you can see a couple options. With this selected and the pen tool, I can still, if I say I want to get rid of some of these areas, I can always kind of hover over to subtract points as well. You have to make sure it's selected in order to do so, right? I can't just deal with this other one that I have drawn here. However, I can uh, click on that part where you can see it has this dash to suggest that you're going to connect with that. So that's another kind of good indicator. And again, that's now it's closed. Again, I can always subtract some of these. So that's just kind of a quick fundamental with that. I prefer using it to create more of these curves. So instead of just clicking, if I click and hold and start dragging, you'll see that it creates these wings that basically kind of tell you the direction that the line will start to go, even though it's just a point, right? Like kind of see that it's just a point. It's not until I actually click again that I have another, that I actually have a line, right? And it kind of gives you that preview of what it's going to look like if you were to just click, right? So there's what that one would look like. And because I didn't click and drag, it just kind of goes back to that orthogonal view until I click and hold again. So that's how you can kind of start to create these really nice uh, curving shapes by just clicking and holding and dragging again. You can kind of see that it always kind of goes in the direction of that first wing. It kind of forces it to go that way. So you can see that when I start to go back the other way, it's still kind of going a little to the right. So that's a really kind of nice trick with that. And now I can go ahead and just delete that. It's one of those things too, you can create some really simple curves by just doing 3 points in some case. If I just click and hold, I can even hold shift to keep it perfectly orthogonal. And I can go up here and click and hold to create this curve instead of having to think about physically drawing that actual curve. If I just use 3 points and use those wings in their directions, that kind of helps. The other nice thing with the pen tool, if you click and hold down, you can go to this anchor point. This pretty much allows you to re-edit those wings. If I were to click and hold, you can see that that allows me to adjust where those wings are going, how big they are. Another interesting part about it too, if I just simply click on it, it'll get rid of those wings and make a sharp point. So that's kind of interesting too. So you can really utilize it to create all sorts of interesting ways to edit these things too, right? So you don't even have to feel like the original curve that you create is kind of locked in. You can always click and drag those points to edit them. You can even, instead of just clicking on those points, you can even click on the curves themselves and adjust it that way if that's easier for you to kind of understand. So it's a very helpful and useful tool to really kind of create line work in Illustrator. So that's it. Again, have fun with using this one to just simply begin drawing in Illustrator.